iDS Talks is a podcast dedicated to helping corporations and law firms find new and effective ways to leverage data, giving them a decisive advantage both in and out of the courtroom.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of iDS Talks. My name is Jonathan Sachs, Chief Revenue Officer at iDS, and I'm joined today by Jacques Nack, iDS's Chief Innovation Officer. We're here today to talk about emerging technologies in the legal practice, specifically what's next. Welcome, Jacques, to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan. Always a pleasure.
Well, you really didn't have much choice. I basically told you that you were going to join, and you came along and joined. I'm kidding. Jacques is here of his own free will. Jacques, I know we're talking today about emerging tech in the legal practice, and so I want to start us off by making the following disclaimer to our listeners and viewers, which is Jacques and I are not engaged in the practice of law. iDS is not engaged in the practice of law. What we are doing today is we are talking based on our experience, based on some best practices, based on observations, but it is not legal advice that we are dispensing. Accurate, Jacques? You agree?
That's right. I agree.
All right.
Not a lawyer.
I'm a recovering one, and we'll go with that. Okay, so let's start with two words that have come up on other of our podcasts. It's in everyday use. I'm sure our listeners are very familiar with these two words, and that is artificial intelligence. And so I'd like to talk about artificial intelligence specifically in terms of the transformation or the beginnings of the transformation of the legal landscape. So how is that happening? How is AI actually doing this, Jacques?
Well, AI has been introduced in the legal tech space in a variety of areas of applications. I think that some of the areas where we saw immediate and use for it was in improving document analysis and document review, in performing faster legal research and due diligence, for instance. AI allows you to do that. Automating contract review and management, and also with respect to high-stake litigation, predictive analytics and TAR and outcome prediction models and so forth. So those are some of the areas where we've seen AI being applied to the content, which means content of cases, but also AI being used as a way to accelerate decision-making when trying to formulate strategy or get to inference points.
Jacques, let me ask you this question because it's one that has come up in other podcasts, and I'm very curious for your take on it. And that is that we are at a point where AI is becoming more and more accepted by the general public. The access to it is now on a browser. You can go to ChatGPT, or you can go to Gemini, for example. As you said, AI is not new to the legal world. AI, or a form of AI, is what enables TAR 2.0. But we are now seeing other applications of AI, and I believe that we're seeing faster adoption of the use of AI in the legal space. What's your take on that?
Very good. So I would say that mathematically and technically speaking, TAR 1.0 and the first version of predictive coding and AI today are not quite the same, right? It's not really the dinosaur who turned into a bird kind of thing. But there is some commonality. The commonality in the fact that we're using algorithmic decisions, logic, to infer an output that is then being used to call the amount of time we spend reviewing documents to extract facts. What AI tools have today, the skills involved that are embedded in those large language models include comprehension of the meaning of the sentence, the ability to translate, the ability to summarize, the ability to contrast it with other facts, the ability to ingest and other things. And these type of skills were not available in the initial versions of predictive coding and what have you. And because of that, we see some challenges for an adoption as quick as the public chat GPT to lawyers of those type of system. And so though there is an adoption, there is a faster engagement and interest to do those things. The lack of understanding and awareness about AI capabilities is one of those issues, right? Folks need to get more trained and have more exposure to what those AI skills and capabilities are. A lot of people are fearful of using AI tools in industry because they feel like they might be coming after their job. And those are things that we also have to think about because it's not quite what they are. And then there is also some regulatory concern around privacy and security. Is my case evidence now available in the public domain, what have you? And so along with deploying these technologies, there's been a very, very probably faster than ever before adoption within the legal industry, who has been researching ways to overcome the regulatory complexity and the compliance requirement when it comes to using the AI. They have made investment. We've made investment. Most people have made investment in talent and training to understand what AI does. And we are also deploying those tools in a way that is completely safe and following the next generation best practices. So I wanted to qualify the answer and say, yes, it is not TAR 2.0. It is something like TAR 2.0, something that is a bit more complex. But what we've seen here in terms of companies looking to adopt this new technology is bigger than ever before, right? There is not just deploying the tools, there's also training the folks, getting them to become aware of what it does, helping them understand where to use it and not when to use it. And something that we hear more today than ever before is about the whole aspect of ethics when using AI, especially for somebody who has ethical law firms, expert witnesses who have ethical duties to the court.
So, Jacques, you must have read my mind, because I wanted to ask you specifically about data privacy and security concerns. And so how can law firms effectively manage both of those while still embracing new technologies?
There are several guidance around it, but just simplifying it, first, don't use public models to work on sensitive data. So do not upload your very confidential and proprietary document on the public system and ask it to analyze and tell you what the key points are. You're sharing it to some degree voluntarily. You may want to deploy a private tool to do that, and there are private deployment of those key tools. We have to look at the ethics, right? With AI. We talked about the concept of bias and the concept of hallucinations. Those things are in the tools and in those applications that we deploy, and we have to have an understanding of of how they are impacted in our case. You may want to use a tool that refers back to specific collections in your system, provide links to actual citations or document within your own collection and tells you, I am saying this because I saw this citation in this page on document 7, 8, and 10. And this way you have referenceable stuff to avoid the issues of hallucination. And to remove the idea around bias is you have to perform your own review. At the end of the day, you don't take the output of an AI prompt and publish it in your memorandum or into your pleading.
Right.
You want to kind of have a chance to kind of look at it and review it and make sure that, well, worse, it maybe have helped you with the initial context of your pleading. You still have to do the work of crafting and presenting the final output. Our analysis as expert witness, as computer forensics experts, as a discovery analyst, is to assimilate a lot of this information, is to bring this information together. One of the ways that our clients can benefit from receiving a login to a database with 2 million documents is having a high-level summary. Your dataset contains these type of facts, these type of documents, and talks about these few people. This type of exercise would have required sometimes even further processing. Now with AI, document summarization and data conversation are better. But iDS tried to leverage AI in a more tactical way, right? How do we produce a better translation for your documents? How do we produce a better OCR for your documents? How do we produce a better fact analysis or extract points from a form, a check, an insurance document that was scanned 30 years ago, so that it's better accessible in your system? So we are deploying AI in the pipeline to enhance what information becomes available to you. And within the review system, we're providing tools to law firms to better summarize, organize, classify, extract facts out of that information that has been prepared for them.
Interesting. Now, those are, you just gave us a couple of examples of AI applications. Are there other promising AI applications in the legal tech space that you're aware of?
Timeline have been a terrific tools in all years, in all days, to quickly retell a story of what happened on the case, right? We provide a service where we do a day in the life of, which allows our teams to extract data and micro metrics, facts, artifacts from mobile phones, laptops, emails, and any other digital items out there. With AI, we are able to build more detailed, more precise, faster timeline with narrative associated with them. And now these rendering are even more powerful, right? You can zoom in all the way down to the second. You can zoom out and see things at the week level if you need to. So these are type of implication of things that we're seeing technically in investigation, in investigative cases that we perform. We also see better legal research, right? Our consultants can now, do better fact extraction from the original case summaries and provide better guidance to engineers as to what are the initial steps and what needs to be done next. With respect to clients receiving output from iDS Discovery Services Department, they have the ability to do faster review, better grouping of information, better fact analysis of document. They are leveraging less searches, but when they are getting large results, they have additional tools that enables them to go through faster and more cost-effective document review projects.
Got it. All right. So how does Jacques Nack envision the future of legal services?
I believe that legal services would, because of AI, because of the ease of processing information that AI provides, what we will see, number one, is even higher than predicted before data volumes. We will be collecting a lot more information. And the reason we're doing that is we've shifted from an environment where we had to collect this information, organize it, process, and put in the database so we can identify what facts were relevant. Now, with large language models, we can collect a lot of the information and process them through a large language system and have the data tell us what it contains. Do you have any documents about Jonathan Sachs? Do you have any documents about so and so? And it doesn't require the manual effort that we had to go through to make all of that effort, at least not to the same extent. Because of that, early fact extraction from data is something that is also going to be possible, right? To be able to use a model within your Office 365 ecosystem to just extract those factual points that are important and be able to formulate timelines or alternate theories before charging into a full discovery process. And we are going to have a lot of challenges with fake evidence. AI-generated evidence, the ability to distinguish between what's right and what's not right, what's fake and what's been generated. And so there's some other challenges that are coming from that angle, and those are going to require immediate legislation and new guidance and jurisprudence from just about every court, so we can catch up with those challenges. At least those are some of the few things that I see right now. I mean, we have to be very aware of the fat tail of these models.
Yep. All right. So here's the last question. With everything that you just talked about, with other emerging technologies, law firms are going to need to invest in the talent. They're going to have to invest in their people. So what skills, what competencies should lawyers be developing to actually thrive in this new tech landscape?
Several things. I think that most lawyers we've had the pleasure to work with and collaborate with successfully have been people who excel at learning quickly and adapting quickly. So I don't think this is going to be a huge challenge for those lawyers. The first thing is developing greater skills in data analysis and data interpretation, understanding what that means, having a better understanding of the capabilities of AI tools and even machine learning, having a greater understanding of data privacy and data security, how to protect this information and clients' information, excelling at digital collaboration and communications with a even more spread out work environment, with many people working from home and lawyers working with colleagues around the country, finding better ways to collaborate on these cases, effectively collaborating and communicating about critical facts can be key. And innovation, right? Continuing to look for ways to do things better, faster, and so forth. So we have to build those tools and competencies to continue to be relevant in this legal landscape.
Got it. Well, Jacques, I want to thank you for joining me today. I always feel smarter after I talk to you. I feel like you've added to what I already knew and have me thinking about things in a different way. So I appreciate that. Appreciate the time today. I'd also like to thank our regular subscribers and those that may be first-time listeners for spending time with me and with Jacques. If you'd like to learn more about iDS or want to subscribe to our iDS Talks podcast, you can visit idsinc.com or go wherever you normally get your podcasts from. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you again for joining us, and I look forward to talking more about data with you on our next edition of iDS Talks.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks again, Jacques.